I'm Lee Wilcox. I'm the co-founder and CEO of On the Tools, and I'm here because we drawn an award at the Business Awards UK.
Could you provide an overview of your career journey that ultimately led you becoming CEO and co-founder of On the Tools, along with a brief description and history of the business?
Yeah, so how did I become the CEO of On the Tools? So, my background was actually nothing to do with construction at all. So I actually was I was in sports franchising for about 10 years. Previous to that, I jumped around jobs because I didn't know what to do. Failed at university, ended up getting a job as a picture framer. Most people didn't know that's an actual job. As an apprentice picture framer, did that for 2 years. Learned a lot actually doing that, and then sort of got into my sort of first proper job, if you want to call it that, in this sports franchising, which was actually setting up small-sided football leagues, and nothing to do with the construction industry at all, and did that for a very long period of time. And actually, the idea for On the Tools came about because I was with Adam, with the co-founder, drunk on a Friday night, and he was moaning about the fact he couldn't find a plasterer on the job he was on. So Ad was in the trade, I wasn't. And we always sort of say that On the Tools was born off the back of Ad being in the trade, and me being a bit of a geek, and was trying to sort of solve this challenge around recruitment, really. And then sort of spring forward the next 10 years, which is where we're at now. We're in our 10th year of On the Tools. The business was built around trying to solve that recruitment problem with an app, basically, that we never launched. But what we did do was try and build a community around the launch of that product, and I guess the byproduct of the business and the models and sort of how the business grew was about the community. We ended up building a community because we wanted to try and launch this app. We never launched the app because the growth of the community took us in sort of different angles. So, and now actually the community is the heart and soul of the business, and actually the business is built around that. The mission is built around that. So the mission is to improve the lives of UK tradespeople. So we are very passionate about that. The decisions we make, the businesses we work with, the revenue model, the business plan is sort of all driven by that singular mission. So it kind of just proves that, I guess, initial ideas of businesses, etc., how you sort of ping pong around and get into where you get to is never a straight journey. But I guess you learn a lot of things along the way of what not to do, and you sort of end up getting this focus, I guess. And as is very much the community, the boots on the ground, you get trade.
What is probably the main challenges you faced as CEO and co-founder of On the Tools, and how do you think we can encourage more people into the construction engineering industry?
For me, businesses in general are just built around two core things, and they're like ideas and selling. When you're not doing both of those things, and they have to be done at the same time, not necessarily on the same thing, but if those two things aren't happening, this ideas generation, this constant sort of challenging on what you're doing, why you're doing it, where you're doing it, etc. And then if you're not selling, whether that's like, I think selling's almost got like a bit of a dirty word to it, and a dirty sort of connotation with it. And I always struggle to sort of understand why. I think it's one of the core principles in any business is that, that doesn't mean it's got to be a sleazy salesperson. That's not the image of what I guess what I'm talking about. But selling and learning how to sell and selling your ideas or your mission or your products or your services, like they are just fundamental. If you're not selling, ultimately your business won't grow, it won't survive. And because I think those are the two sort of principles that I've come to learn, and maybe only recently as well. I think it's a real. It feels like we only started yesterday, and I think this year's been sort of a prominent one for us because we're in our 10th year. I'm thinking about it ever such a lot. I don't really know why. I actually do it twofold. I'm nearly 40, and it's the 10th year on the tools, and I'm sort of in this period where I'm really thinking about what we've learned, what we're doing. So they're the two things, and then actually moving into sort of the second part of that question around, why should people sort of move into construction and engineering? as a business, we've got an incredible focus on this at the moment. We've actually just launched a skills gap campaign off the back of a white paper study that the team have done, and the industry is really behind in terms of the resource that we need. Over the next decade, we need just under 940,000 people to join the industry in order to keep up with the demand of infrastructure, homes, hospitals, schools, etc., etc. And I think actually one of the biggest things I've learned, and I think that we've learned as a business actually, is that the industry isn't promoted broadly right across this country. It's one of the biggest contributors to the UK economy. It's the biggest contributor to SMEs, so it has the highest volume of SMEs within any other industry in this country. Yeah, it's sort of seen as a bit of a derogatory sort of ending or starting, as also a career path for young people, and certainly not promoted for people to switch to. And I think it's a travesty, if I'm being honest. I think that the broadness of the industry and the opportunities within it, both from an earning potential, lifestyle and work balance lifestyle, the broadness of opportunity in terms of skill set, whether that be like science, math, AI, innovation. It's not just learning labour, skilled labour. I think it gets overlooked. I think across all of those things, so from manual labour to skilled labour to innovation to AI to content creation, to quantity surveying, like the skill sets that can be brought into the industry and used, they're not spoken about. And I think it's, I think we're doing young people and anyone looking to sort of change careers a disservice by not promoting and shining a light on the industry in the way that it should be. So, I would encourage anyone thinking about their career and I think this is a common path, that who don't quite feel like they fit in with academia, to think about construction, in a bit of a different way, and that it is a hugely creative and broad sector that can that's crying out for great talent. So yeah, it's a big problem, but also a huge opportunity.
What would you attribute as the main reason for your business's success?
Hell yeah. I would say, I know that sounds ridiculous, but and actually, I mean, look, it's really nice that you said that success. I don't think we've succeeded yet. I think the ambition we have as a business and the vision we have, I think we're constantly looking at how we get better and how we achieve, that mission of improving the lives of UK tradespeople, and so I think it's great from the outside looking in that it looks like we're sort of succeeded. And look, I don't want to take that away from everyone in the business, because obviously we've made some good inroads on what we're doing, but I think it's part of the success, I guess, if you look at it from the outside in, is that inside out we don't feel like we've succeeded. I think there's a real passion for looking at how we still move, and I think the ambition is so big, the mission's so big that we're at the foot, we're at the foot of the mountain. So I think that's probably the one of them. I would say the value piece, I said that because I think it kind of goes back to that bit I was on about earlier around the ideas bit. I think, and I don't think we've actually done a good enough job as a business of identifying this and looking at all the failures we've had. It's just been records like back to back. But it's the bit that you do something and you go, that did not work how we thought it was going to work, or you have these ideas and you're like, this is going to be an absolute killer, like this is definitely going to work, and then sure enough it doesn't, and you go, oh man, that didn't work how we thought it was going to work. They're the bits that I think grow your business, and that constant ideation of like, are we doing this, or should we try this, and let's test this here, and it doesn't work, and then we take a tiny little bit of it and go, okay, but that bit did work, or that actually, if we use that over there, that will work. And then I think one of the other things that I've really learned, through the 10 years is like, and I would say to anyone who is going to start a business, run a business, etc., is like, keep the costs as low as you can. Costs are something you can control in your business. Everything else is something you can't control. The only bit you can control in your own business is the bit you can control, right? And cost is something you definitely can, and applying that expenditure where it's needed most is I think one of the biggest things I've learned over the last 5 years. Definitely, we as a small business, we'd grown, and then when the pandemic hit, that was a real, like, you talk about, I think a lot of people talk about sort of peacetime and wartime, right? In terms of how you manage those, and everything's great when it's great, but actually I think the success of the business and the real foundations of the business are shown when it's not going great where you are in the time bit, and actually things are happening outside of your business you just cannot control. Obviously the pandemic that happened to everyone, and shifts in market, construction's not going anywhere, but it doesn't have some ups and downs because it's driven by so many bigger changes at government and funding, etc. And when things are great, you'll see it moving really well, and when things slow down from an economy perspective, construction is one of the first things to get hit. You really see it. So I think having that cost piece there and having control of that means that when times do get tough, you can weather that storm. And when your costs get bloated, and by the way, we've done this, I've gone through that period where we did get too fat as I did in terms of our cost structure and all of those things, and it really hurts. You're trying to like win revenue and win deals and partnerships and all these different things because you're trying to survive, just to sort of cover that cost base. So I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned, was that for a business to be successful and keep growing and survive, is that actually control the bit you can, which is your cost. You can't control what revenue you're going to bring in. You can do loads of output and loads of PR and have the best products possible, but ultimately if the market dips, that's that. So yeah, cost, ideas, failures, they're my bits.
As an award winner, would you recommend Business Awards UK to other businesses, and if so, why?
Definitely. Look, I think it's great recognition for I think anything with awards, I think it's a really difficult thing to sort of understand the tangible benefits of awards, because there's lots of them, and what do they mean? But I think one of the biggest focuses I put on them, I guess as a leader of a business, is the recognition that the team gets for the work they're doing. I think that's really important. That people working on projects or certain things within a business, no matter what that is, that internal praise and recognition is great. And I think leaders should always look to how those things happen, and but sort of separate to that, I think external recognition and accolade, I think, is really, really important for a business. And sometimes that can have a knock-on effect from a commercial perspective, or again from PR or whatever it might be. But actually, at its core, if it allows your team internally to be recognised from an external source, I think it's just incredible. And that's definitely what's happened, within our business from Business Awards. I think it's something where within niches you can, a health and safety award within an awards is quite niche, and they're the things you need to try and spot. So for us, it's been a really great thing internally, and a brilliant feeling for us to be able to, who doesn't want to win stuff, and we're really proud for it. So I would definitely urge people to be able to look at the Business Awards UK and go, okay, where do we fit, and how do we get recognition for it? How do we get the accolade? I think it's important for businesses to do that.
What would you say is the next big step for yourself and On the Tools?
So I think that the business has got itself into a really good shape over the 10 years, and probably specifically over the last few years of its recognition across the industry. So I think we're well known as a brand now within construction, which is great. And I think I think over the last couple of years, we've really honed in on what the mission is, why the hell we exist. And, it probably took longer than we all recognise, and maybe longer than it should. I don't know. Maybe these things take longer, but I think it's definitely, I think it's really sort of cemented into the business now, with what we stand for, why we're doing it. And I think in knowing that, it's really shaping how we're thinking about what we're providing to tradespeople. So who we're working with, who we're not working with, but why we're working with them. I think the next step for us is, so we've invested a hell of a lot into the data part of our business. What our belief is, and I think by honing in on that mission, our belief has been, well, how can we possibly improve the lives of tradespeople? We don't really know what's happening, So we launched a product called Trade Brain, which was an initiative really to sort of, how do we centralise all of the data that we get, how tradespeople are feeling, what they're consuming, what they're buying, etc., into sort of a structure within the business that we can then provide back to industry to go, look, this is what's actually happening. This is what the boots on the ground are actually feeling. This is the impact it's having. And then from there, you go, okay, well, what challenges do we want to fight on their behalf, and how do we do that? And so I think from there, what we really want to do, and over the next few years, and this is for development really, is develop Trade Brain to sort of ingest more data to give us more informed decision-making opportunities on what we fight for and how we do that. But I think really the next part of our brand and for the business, and really to sort of exponentially grow that, is what are we providing tradespeople that can do that? So we're, at the moment, we very much sit in line with, we partner with the rest of the industry in order to provide value and hit that mission. And our next step is how can we provide products and services that trades can then go, oh, actually, I'm going to use that as an, and that might be backed by the partners we've got. We don't want to become, a reseller of, we don't want to become a merchant, for example, but it doesn't mean we can't provide deals or better buying experiences for tradespeople. With one of our partners, we're in a lucky position really as a business that every partner we have is monstrously bigger than we are. They've been in the industry for hundreds of years, and therefore the sort of infrastructure they have across the industry is enormous. And I think where we look is that we've got this ethos around connecting construction, which has always been our tagline, and actually that's becoming more prominent in the partnerships we make, and almost the thinking behind how we do things. We don't have to become a merchant in order to provide a better experience for tradespeople. We can just partner with one and go, look, we've got this product or service. We don't have, last year we trialed an insurance product because we found out it was through one of the white papers that we did as a business. We found out it was a massive problem with tool theft. But we also found out that there wasn't a decent insurance product for tradespeople to have where their tools were insured overnight. So we went and found one. We didn't become an insurance company. We went and found an insurance company and broker that would find the product for us. So I think it's that. So definitely our next stage is providing direct services to tradespeople that will hit that mission of improving the lives of UK tradespeople. So that's our next 10 years.
Well, it sounds like a very ambitious one, like you have previously said, but it sounds like you're very much willing for the challenge. So I was going to say, thank you very much for joining us, Daly. If people want to find you, if they want to find On The Tools, where can they find you?
So look, we're across every social channel, always under the handle of On The Tools TV. We've got our website and onthetools.tv as well. So if you type On The Tools into Google or any social platform, and you'll find us straight away there with the Barry head. That's the logo. It's us.
Brilliant. Well, make sure to put those links in the description. Again, thank you so much for joining us, Daly.
Thanks, Trem. Appreciate it.